Hey y'all, just a really brief update. So, this is my roof, of course, on my porch here that I built that will eventually be an enclosed building. But I framed the wall. That's the actual framing of the wall. There will be a door right there where that door opening is. But thank you, Mr. Black. Appreciate it. Anyhow, but I put the plastic up because it probably will not be getting any siding board or anything like that before the snow flies. So the plastic just to keep the firewood. See where I'm stacking the firewood? There will be a lot more there when I'm done. So the 2x4s that are going horizontal, those are just there temporary to hold the plastic. Well, there's one right there that's vertical, but that's also to hold the plastic. And then against the siding, there's a vertical piece, again, to hold the plastic. Jeez, it's getting cold. Getting cold. Anyhow, and then I had to do a repair over here. So, I didn't build this ramp. This ramp was here whenever I bought the property. I extended it at the very bottom. Like, none of this I built. None of this, but the very bottom there, and that comes around this way, that I did build. That was the extension I built. The original ramp stopped right here. And then I built this piece first. We used to back the car in here to load my handicapped friend. And then I decided, well, that's not going to work. So then I built that all the way down to the ground there. But that part there, they built this thing and they used, I don't know what they used. They were just common screws and common nails. They were not galvanized. They were not coated. Nothing like that. So they've all started rusting away. And then there was some rotten wood right here where it connects here as well. So I had to, and a couple of the deck boards were a little bit rotted and cracked or what have you, so I had to fix that up and fix up the framing a little bit and put all new fasteners and lift it up just a little bit because it was falling, because all the fasteners, screws and nails had rusted and were no longer connected. What do you want, goofball? Give you a side profile. I'm hoping between all these projects that was an unintended project that was added after I got the material out here on the site. But I always order extra material, so there's definitely enough to do that. I'm hoping there'll be enough, and if not, I might just go and buy some more to run the wall from here to the peak, to the halfway point in the peak. Or maybe right there. See where that 4x4 post comes up? Right there, actually. So that way I can cut out that section of railing between there and there. And I'll have the post that'll carry it the rest of the way. So from there to there, which is probably about, I don't know, 9 feet. So I'd like to, and that way it protects the firewood from the back and the side. Because if you get wind-driven snow, it's going to drive it right in there on top of that wood. And the point of the plastic in the wall, the framing of the wall, is to keep the wood dry. It's nothing worse than going for firewood and it's wet, and instead of getting the wood stove going, it slowly goes out. I've had that happen. It's not fun. It's frustrating, because then I got to kick on the furnace and burn propane, and well, let's just say that wood stove saved thousands of dollars last year. And I intend for it to save thousands of dollars this year. So I got this going. I had some siding board left over from when I built the coop. That's what's being used right there. I ordered a bunch more. I was wanting to save time. So my intention was to order ½ inch, or in this case, a 19/32, which is a little bit bigger than ½ inch, T111 siding board. But I wanted to get it pre-primed or painted or whatever, however it comes. So that way it was one less thing I had to try to deal with before the snow flies, because it's not easy to paint when it gets colder. The paint, depending on the temperature, will not cure properly, or even worse, it will freeze. And that's not going to work at all, because it'll just peel off in no time at all, because it won't absorb into the wood. Well, first off, they sent, and I'll walk back around, give one more quick look there. That's why there's no siding on that wall. I'm stick framing it, and then I have to go back and put the siding board on after. And I built this window. Here, I'll show you this real quick too. I have a pile of windows, old windows down there. Well, I went through the pile, and they weren't that good to begin with, but they've been sitting there now for a couple of years, and they're just not. They're all junk, pretty much. So I had a piece of plexiglass and built my own window. I really wanted to have a regular window because you could open it. You know, I can put this on hinges. You know, I just thought of that. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it on hinges. I won't need it for this winter, but I'll put it on hinges, and I'll have hardware cloth on the inside. Matter of fact, I think I'll build a hardware cloth shutter, so there'll be another kind of frame similar to this one built, but it'll have hardware cloth, right? But I'll have it on hinges as well, so I can open it. So if ever I have to clean this plexiglass, because I would definitely have to, because, you know, the chickens, they're going to do their business, and it's going to fall on it, and it's going to fall on the hardware cloth, and it's going to fall on the glass, and there's no way to get around it. So it's just going to happen. You know, because I like to put their roosting bars in a way they can see out the window, which means they're going to poop and it's going to land on the glass. So I'll build another frame like that, put hardware cloth on it. I'll hinge the window so that way it can open out at the bottom at the very least. Yeah, out at the bottom, so that way if it is rainy, it can still be open and it won't let water in, but it'll let air in, airflow. And then put the hardware cloth frame on a hinge so I can open and clean it, which will go right in the center. As you can see, that's got a frame right in the center. I did that for a reason, because this is coop's gonna be split down the middle, so you have the frame part of the window will be lined up with the very center where the hardware cloth separating wall will be built. So you'll have a window for both sides. Although I guess if I have it built that way, I'm gonna have to figure out a different way to hinge the hardware cloth. I'm actually gonna have to build it in 2 sections, because if I only build it in 1 section, I won't be able to open it, because the hardware cloth wall will be in the way to do that. But if I build it in 2 sections, you can open one side, and then when you're on the other side, you can open the other side when you have to clean it. So yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. That will work. Okay, see, I'm figuring out as I go. I always have a general plan. Sometimes I write it down, and sometimes it's just in my head, but the general plan it's usually completely different than where it started in my mind. It always is, because I'm good at overkill. It's just part of my nature, I guess. I don't know. It starts off being a chicken coop, And then I build it strong enough where you could drive the tractor inside of it. Man, it is what it is. But anyhow, getting to the siding board here. Two things. One, for whatever reason, they don't have 1/2 inch or 19/32 thick pre-primed T111 siding board. They have it on their website, but they don't have it. Now, they didn't say it was a shipping issue or anything. They just said they don't have it. But, like I said, it's on their website. So, either they need to change their website or it's a shipping issue and they just can't get it. The problem is with this stuff is it's 3/8 of an inch. And that might be okay. I could, and I was going to overlook it and say, you know, that's fine, whatever. It'll be strong enough. But then I discovered another problem, and that is this siding board is not plywood. It's that, and I believe they call it OSB. I call it particle board. I'd show you, but I don't feel like moving the posts and lifting it up. You can kind of see it on the edge here because it's primed over the particle board. I don't know if you can see that. So all particle board is, for those who don't know, is wood chips. Wood chips that is glued and pressed together. It's sawdust holding hands is what I like to call it. It is garbage. And now I'm going to tell you why it's garbage. When this stuff gets wet, and even those who may not have a background in construction have most likely seen this, but when this stuff gets wet, it literally turns into sawdust. If it's been wet and maybe over a year, you know, or maybe even a shorter time, I don't know. It doesn't take long, I know that. Like on your floor or your wall or something like that, and you take off the trim and you see this water damage. You ever have those pieces where you grabbed it with your hand and it just crumbled? Yes, that's what this is. This is garbage. Plywood would not do that. Plywood would eventually rot, but it would take a long time if there was a leak. And it, even after it rotted, it wouldn't fall apart that way. It wouldn't fall apart that easy. It would fall apart in layers, because that's what plywood is. Plywood is layers, plies that are glued together, but they crisscross the grain, so it's even stronger. So you have one layer of grain that's about I don't know, it's not an 1/8 of an inch, but it's like 3/16 or not 3/16, but it's like a 1/16 and a half, somewhere around there. It's not quite an 1/8 of an inch, but it's like a 1/16 and a half, something like that, thickness. And then there's another layer that the grain pattern goes in the exact opposite direction. That layer is glued on, and then there's another layer that's glued in the opposite direction of that, and so on and so forth, and depending on how thick it is. I think 1/4 inch is 3 layers. I think 3/8 is maybe 4 layers. And then 5/16 is 4 or 5 layers, something like that. Don't quote me on the amount of layers, but I think that's what it is. Yeah, this ain't layers. This particle board or OSB or whatever it's called, wherever you are, and however you call it, is pure junk. I suggest don't waste your money on it. I did buy some, and I used it inside this coop for interior walls. It's fine for that. I would never use it for a floor, unless it's like a subfloor. You're already going over top of a really solid floor, and you're just trying to, for whatever reason, you need it needs to be higher or thicker or whatever, that's fine. Or your interior walls, that's fine. That's okay to use it like that, you know, in something like a chicken coop that works good for stuff like that. But anything structural, your roof, your exterior walls, and I know they use it a lot on exterior walls, by the way, that's not good. But definitely not floors. Like, even if you was to use it on exterior walls, okay, maybe, but never a floor, unless you want to fall through when it gets wet. But I wouldn't even put it on exterior walls, and then, you know, you put your Tyvek or whatever over that, and then you put your siding over that. I wouldn't even use it for exterior walls, personally. I don't even honestly like using it for interior walls. If it wasn't for the fact that, you know, we all have a budget we have to live by, I would have never used it at all. But at that point, the budget had gotten torn to pieces building that coop. It cost a lot of money, and so at the end of it, it was an afterthought, something I was adding on just because I wanted to make it better. But the budget was gone, long gone. So I had to get something very inexpensive. And so I decided it was not something that was going to see any type of water unless there was a roof leak. And even then, it's not likely, you know. And it's on an interior wall, so even if you had an exterior leak, it 99% of the time would not hit that interior wall. So the odds were very low that it would have any water damage. So I decided, okay, well, I don't have any more budget, so this is absolutely all I could afford, and so that's what I did. In very few situations I would use it. So, long story short, although the story's already gotten long here, so, but let's just say the rest of it will shorten it. That's going back. That, along with the water stained, semi-rotted landscape timbers there, which I'm going to use for posts to build the run, they're going to go back too, because they're water stained and semi-rotted and cracked. Home Depot sent me that garbage. Another company, I better not say that too loud, right? But another company that I use only to help with the budget, because most of the other stores, lumber stores, especially if you're getting a lot of material, it costs a lot more money. So, but I am going to return the siding board, and I'm going to return those 7 posts, and I'm going to take the money from that, and I'm going to go up to the street to my local lumber store, and I'm going to get the non-primed 1932nd, which is a little bigger than ½ inch thick, T111 siding board. And you know what? I don't have the time to prime it or paint it before the snow, but it'll be fine till the spring, so it's fine. I'll do that in the spring, and it's not like it's a massive addition or something. And of course, I'm also using the same thing to build my small garage down behind the hen house there. But again, that will be fine till the spring. So, alright, this was supposed to be a short video, and because sometimes I like to ramble on, it's gotten really long. So I'm going to cut it off here, and I'm going to say God bless you guys. And as always, I look forward to talking to you in the comments.